Hello, podcast listeners. We know podcasts are a great way to catch up on a program that you may have missed on KSJE, and it's provided as a free service of this radio station. But you know, KSJE is now listener-supported, and so while you enjoy this podcast, we hope that you'll also take some time to join KSJE. Become a member today. It's quite easy to do. Just go to our website at ksje.com/support and pick the level of support that best matches your budget. Thanks again for listening. Here's your podcast. And that brings me back to my guests who are here with me in the studio. Dr. Eugene Schmidt is here from the Farmington School District. Dr. Schmidt, good morning.
Good morning, Scott. Good morning, Four Corners. Got a great show planned for you today, Scott.
Yes, we do. And so it's great to have you here, Dr. Schmidt. Appreciate it very much. And Stephanie Thompson, good morning to you. Thank you for coming in as well. A brand new board member for the school board.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, everybody.
Good to have you with us as well. And so, Dr. Schmidt, we can show everyone kind of what we have planned for today, and that would be a number of important topics, right? To talk to Ms. Thompson, who's the new board member coming in, who will be sworn in this week.
Yes, in fact, today is Stephanie's special day. We have a board meeting today this afternoon, and we have Judge Paul Briones coming in to do the official swearing in, so it will be off and going today.
Okay, and then we'll talk a little bit about career and technical education, some other things that you're working on from last year's school year, and some other topics as well. So stay tuned for that, everyone. But let me come back. And Stephanie Thompson, let me ask you a little bit about your service on the Farmington Municipal School Board. You applied for the vacancy that was made after Mike Isaacson left the board, and so what got you interested in wanting to serve on the school board?
So my interest in serving on the school board was basically seeking an opportunity to serve and basically to build a better community through the context that I have.
Okay. And you've had children in the Farmington schools, but not anymore.
Not anymore. Right.
And so, and you've also been involved with Leadership San Juan, as I recall, correct?
Yes, I am a recent graduate of Leadership San Juan, which is the best class.
Now, wait a minute. You can't say that all the time, right? But your class was the best class, but that's impossible because my class was the best class.
Well, we'll have to see about that.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll talk about that off the air, but yes. And so so that was part of it, and then your educational background. Take us through a little bit about that, if you don't mind.
Okay, so my educational background, I started out here at San Juan College. Got my first 2 years done here. And then when I got done with that, I transferred to New Mexico State University, finished out my degree there in mechanical engineering, and then I went and pursued a master's in business administration through University of Phoenix, and that was done online. Okay,
very good. And Dr. Schmidt, let me bring you back into the conversation. And so Stephanie applied for the opening and to be on the board to fill out the term of Mr. Isaacson, and that's how that started?
Yes, and for the listeners, excuse me, we know that Mike represents the west end of town, and so Stephanie brings not only that west end point of view, but she brings a Native American perspective to this position as well, so we're excited to have her. She applied, went through an interview process, and with both Board President Kyle Rhodes and Vice President Robin Hoffman, who will advance Stephanie's name to the full board tonight at this afternoon's meeting. And as I mentioned very briefly in the intro, we have Judge Paul Briones today to do the official swearing in. So it will be exciting moving ahead with new voices, new ideas, as we build the future of Farmington Municipal Schools.
Very, very good. And congratulations again, Stephanie, to you. And do you have any goals or anything that you want to see accomplished from your time on the school board, or do you think things are being run pretty good?
You know, having a conversation with Kyle and Robin and Dr. Schmidt here, and taking a look at the mission statements and everything that it encompasses, I believe that all of us are on the same path to make the Farmington School District better.
Right, which is what we all want.
Yes.
For all the students and everyone else. Dr. Schmidt?
Yes, it will be a fast learning curve for Board Member Thompson. Once she is seated on the board tonight, we will begin with a series of meetings introducing her to my senior cabinet, at which each of those will talk about how they align their work to our goal of making sure that kids graduate college and career ready, but also have those sparks and passions that kids often exhibit developed along their pathway to graduation.
Very good. Well, congratulations once again. It's a big day for you. I'm not sure this radio appearance will remain the highlight of your day after being sworn in later on, and I'm okay with that. I understand.
Yep, there's more to come.
There is more to come, but a busy day. You've got it all crammed into one day.
I do.
A lot of big things happening. So welcome, and it's great to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Schmidt, let's talk too a little bit about some of the other things on our list this morning, and that is some of the work that was done about career and technical education and what that's all about, as you mentioned, right?
I want to take you on a nostalgic stroll through the last probably 10 years or more of public education, both within Farmington and national. And that is kind of a legacy of the No Child Left Behind that probably you spoke about many times on radio stations during the early 2000s, but a strong focus on college readiness and maybe not as much focus on career readiness. You're seeing that pendulum beginning to swing back, and I think that has great value to the Farmington and Four Corners because we do have a lot of crafts, trades, blue-collar skills that may or may not have been lost. For example, I drive past Pesco and the hiring sign is out every day.
Right.
And so
you drive out on that construction zone. Good for you. You're more braver than I am.
But I think for the Four Corners, they're going to be really pleased to see a renewed emphasis on building career skill sets in kids, not only what you might call soft skills, the importance of showing up for work dressed for success like you are today, and just understanding that work has an ethic to it. And
right.
So we want to teach hard skills, and so you have those mathematical, science, STEM kinds of sides, but in current technical education, there's also a series of success or critical skills that employers like. For example, how well do you interact with customers if you're the front cashier or the waitress taking, what are those critical success skills that make people want to come back to your business?
Sure.
So a lot of focus this year. And the federal government's going to support that. I'm pleased to share with our listening audience that the federal government has approved what we call Carl Perkins 5. Carl Perkins is a federal support to school districts that are trying to implement career and technical education.
Okay.
And we have submitted an application, and what makes this one different than others is that there's a greater push into the middle school. The old thinking was if I can just interest a person in a career, maybe by their junior, senior year, off they go. I think we need to do better at connecting an even younger generation, especially at a time when we don't know what the jobs of the future even are. But we can talk about what is going on in the health world, what is going on in the business and marketing world. Farmington, I know, has a real interest in developing tourism, and so that involves hotel restaurant. And so how can we make an even younger generation of kids aware of that? So here's the practical side. I was talking to Deputy Superintendent Valdez, and we're tracking enrollment projections for this year. So Stephanie, I'm pleased to share that something seems to be exploding at the middle school. We were talking very specifically about Hermosa, that on paper looks to begin the year with 690 kids. That's up about 60 from last year. And so that causes the conversation with Kyle Hawes, their new principal, about we have to add electives to accommodate for this influx of new kids that we have on paper. So here we go back to career and technical education. And what might we do? Well, it turns out that Hermosa has a place that we can maybe use some construction trades, industrial arts. And so perhaps there's a way of hooking kids into the future of the workforce through plumbing, electrical, cement work, carpentry, those kinds of things. And so it's kind of a throwback to the old world that maybe you and I grew up in, but those workers are just as valuable as people with college degrees. And so we're very excited about what's going on in career and technical education.
Sure. Well, and I know excited about probably having the money to help pay for some of these things
Yes.
too. That's always nice when that comes along as well. And we always hear, especially here at San Juan College, how that not every student is maybe prepared or wants to go on to a 4-year college degree, and so they can come here and maybe get a certificate or get a technical certification and get into the workforce and start making money for them and their family, perhaps.
Yes, and so I appreciate that, because for those listeners who don't have access to the video streaming that you're doing this morning, we would want them to know that it is our intent to apply for Carl Perkins 5 funding, and we can apply for up to $125,000, and this would be used to introduce new programs. And, there's a lot of different things. Certainly, that we have a strong interest in media, and that includes broadcasting and the film industry that seems to be proliferating in New Mexico.
Right.
But we also have an interest in what might jobs of the future. How can we make sure that our kids can come out of school job ready to go to work? So I'm going to give a plug for Raytheon, who is where Stephanie works. How do we make sure that those kids maybe have job entry level skills that they can head out to that, which is one of our major workforces.
Right.
I know that you had talked about what is PNM up to, and so we still need to have kids who are capable of doing industry tech in the electrical, whether the coal mines and certainly the gas and oil that is prevalent. We need to make sure that workforce is stockpiled and waiting, and we can help do that through our current technical education programs.
Very exciting. And then I guess the other part of this conversation too, Dr. Schmidt, is the graduation rates, and that these kids, if they're in these programs, and the studies show that they're more apt to stay in school and finish, where maybe if they hadn't had that opportunity, they may not have seen the potential of sticking around.
So I appreciate you sharing that, because we're becoming data-driven people. So Stephanie, be really proud of how we're converting, but we're beginning to track. If you're in a current technical education program, we're discovering that there's a greater likelihood that you will graduate. And so we've studied the graduation numbers for the last 3 classes, and what we've found is consistently students who are in current technical education, you might call them sequence courses. The new word is concentration or concentrators, where kids will do a series of courses that earn them a certification. Almost a 93% graduation rate, whereas the regular population of kids is closer to 71. It tells us we've got to connect kids with the world of work through CTE, and that will improve our graduation rate. So watch us as we try to expand the number and kinds of offerings. And for the listening audience, I'm pleased to share that we have 16 full-time career and technical education teachers in our comprehensive high schools. In addition, we are tracking the over 800 to 1,000 career and technical education courses that they take through our great partner, San Juan College. And so there are many ways to get exposed. Our intent is to increase that exposure.
And this is being offered to your students through all across the board, right? All ethnicities and across the district, basically. We're talking, what, about 3,300 kids?
Yes, and that's the exciting part, again, is that for our listening audience, the Farmington Municipal Schools is known throughout New Mexico as the most diverse. And by that we mean the balance of Native American, Hispanic, and Caucasian, plus other groupings, but the most diverse in New Mexico. And even more interesting, there are like 11,800 school districts across the nation, and we're like 174th most diverse of those tens of thousands of school districts. But within that population, the kids enrolled in CTE reflect what we look like as a demographical grouping. So we're very pleased that there's a balance of kids.
Right, and we're showing the numbers on the screen that you have, and again, it really does show the diversity of the student body at Farmington schools for sure. Something else we want to talk about this morning, Dr. Schmidt, is continuing on some of your work from last year,
Yes.
and some of the recognition that the district received as well, and kind of using that momentum into the new school year, which is about, I can't believe we're talking about this, but it's about to begin. We're almost in August, aren't we?
Yes, very excited to, in fact.
Sorry, kids.
We're
Not sorry, moms and dads.
We're actually practicing reunification drills today, so if you see buses and different
Okay,
kinds of
right.
police vehicles down by McGee Park, is because we are practicing what an evacuation might look like in anticipation of the start of the school year. But going back to what we were doing last year, we're really trying to develop a systems approach to education. If schools and teachers and my central office do things that look alike with consistency in practice, we're going to get better, further, faster. And so last year we were very deliberate in pursuing advanced ed accreditation. That is, all 21 schools went through a visitation process that outside people came in to kind of poke and prod and see what we're doing. And we were benchmarked against the best school systems in the nation. And I'm very proud again to share that Farmington was accredited as an advanced ed system. We also went through a Quality New Mexico. Many people understand or remember Baldrige, but it is trying to understand how the structure or systems work. Are they aligned in their work? We received the second highest award New Mexico gives last year, called Roadrunner. And now we build on that. And so the focus of this year is that high reliability school. We want to make sure that whatever part of town you live in, there's a high reliability, that classroom, that building leadership will be as focused and purposeful as what some might describe in some of our best schools. We want to say all of our schools are the best in Farmington through this high reliability work.
And this is something that I think is interesting to talk about, because for any organization that has a large number of employees and a large number of systems and a large number of moving parts, which a school district does, and Farmington is the largest in our area, this is kind of what you're talking about, that every employee knows what's expected and every employee is working towards his common goal, whether you're a custodian or a teacher or a teacher's aide or a principal. And if everyone is familiar and knows what those goals are, they can all work towards in that same direction, all row in the same direction if you're trying to get the boat to move.
Yes, and that's a great analogy to what we're trying to do, maybe a metaphor even. But for the first time since I've arrived, this will be the start of my 5th year in the Farmington school system, and I thank you for honoring me with that responsibility to lead the district. But we will be hosting a back-to-school rally for our staff, and at which time we will have over 1,400 employees gathering in the Farmington Scorp Gym to hear the back-to-school message that we are rising to excellence in every pursuit, but also we're going to be chasing the high-reliability school systems. And to energize and jazz the group a little bit, I took 90 of my staff to Denver for 4 days to train, and so all throughout the crowd is this group of people who are saying, this is important work. And what we will be sharing with our community through a series of talks, and I'm hoping to spend more time on the radio with you as the year
Sure.
goes on, talking about how we can do more to make our schools safe and have that collaborative culture. Because as Stephanie knows, we want to interact with our business community. We would like businesses to host kids for internships. The new buzzword is externships. How can we get businesses to host teachers to come and walk their business to understand what they do? And then the teacher can tie back work that is in their classroom. So regular ed can tie to the world of work. So there's a lot of business opportunity. We're certainly excited about engaging our parent community. And so there's a lot of work, all that happens within high reliability, all that happens within rising in the pursuit of excellence.
Very good. And that Welcome Back to School rally is happening August 12th.
August 12th.
All right. Very good. And I want to, I don't want to run out of time before we talk about Country Club Elementary School, Dr. Schmidt, because that has been a school that's been a topic of conversation because of some much needed improvements and maybe some capital improvements and things like that. And the money, I know, has been a little challenging, to pick a word, with some of the bids that came in, but you have some better news for us this morning, it sounds like.
And I appreciate you giving me the chance to share that. So country clubbers, be very excited. We, over this last year and a half, as Scott is sharing, had gone out to bid. The bids were higher than we had expected. We came back several months later with a little bit more money that the state helped us put together, and we went out to bid, accepted a bid, and so that school is under a 4-phase renovation. We call them systems improvement. But the news that Scott is breaking, and I appreciate you being the one to break the news.
So do I.
Is
wow.
that we went back to the state and we told the country club folks that the last phase would be and that's the outside envelope. All the money that we were spending up to upwards of $7 million was for inside the school. And we were going to do a little hall that connects the gymnasium cafeteria that is a standalone building. We're going to connect that to the main building with bathrooms. But today's big news is about $400,000 new dollars that have been put into the systems upgrade for Country Club that will allow us to replace all the outside windows. And if you know Country Club, all the outside classrooms have outside doors. So in the new world of school security and kind of thinking how people come and go,
you don't want that.
We don't want outside doors
idea.
in classroom. We want people coming through
the hallways.
Exits that can be controlled through the front office. So I'm very excited about Country Club.
Very much so. And it just tells you a bit about how school design and architecture has changed to meet the current realities of life. And so this is why that's a big improvement. It will be a big change and a big increase in security for your teachers and students and staff at the school.
Yes, and already the Country Club folks know that we've changed and added some additional security fencing. We are in the process across the district of putting in upwards of $400,000 in new camera and security as well. So we continue to try and make it more difficult for bad things to happen.
Right.
And as we opened a little bit a while ago, today is a unification drill. We're working with the city and first responders on what does it look like if we need to race kids out of a building.
Right. And unfortunately, we have seen that in San Juan County, that
Yes.
we've had to have an actual reunification not too long ago from the incident at Aztec. So that's certainly
Yes.
understandable. Our final topic of conversation this morning, Dr. Schmidt, is about new teacher licensure. And I imagine you still have the Help Wanted sign out for some hiring, and you're always looking for new teachers to fill some gaps?
Yeah, I actually put a star by that and I make sure we talk about this. And we still have 16 openings, and I'm somewhat relieved to say that's down from 30 even last week, but still 16 critical. We want a teacher in every classroom. And we have a great partner in San Juan College that I suspect Dr. Pendergrass will be sharing, that they have received $151,000, and we call it the Alpine Project.
Right, we've talked about that on this program, so yes.
And in this particular work, it will help us recruit Native American and Hispanic speakers into the school system. And so very, very proud to be a partner with San Juan College. So if you're listening out there and interested in becoming a teacher, San Juan College has financial wherewithal to do that.
This program, just in quick summary, almost pays you to get your licensure
Yes.
to become a teacher. I mean, I think most of the costs, if not all, and I'd have to just review it, but they really bend over backwards to get you in there and help cover those expenses. And so it's certainly worth your while if you're thinking about it.
Yes, and we're looking forward to tomorrow's meeting with Dr. Pendergrass to, I think, work out some of the details, but we're looking to be a very active partner with San Juan College in the recruitment of a future teacher generation from our Native American and Hispanic population. So that's one of several, if I have a couple extra seconds to shout out some thoughts. We're also working with Workforce Solutions. People would know the name Secretary Bill McCamley from the governor's Workforce Solutions. We are creating a proposal for Workforce Solutions to create a teacher apprenticeship program. That is important because the $151,000 that San Juan College will be receiving to support our new teacher population doesn't account for the 70 or more who probably will be coming in this year as first-year teachers. And so we're working with Secretary McCamley from the governor's office to create a fund called Teacher Apprenticeship, and that will help support the work that, okay, so in that 151,000, we have at least another 40,000 or so just as a pilot this year. So that's an interesting thing that is conversational going on as well.
Right. And so far, positive response from the Cabinet Secretary?
Yes, I would say that, and so this is Gene not knowing New Mexico very well, is that there's a 4 northern counties workforce solutions that money goes to the state office and then is redistributed out into the 4 northern counties. And so only a week ago, I became aware that there's a $5 million allocation to the 4 northern counties now. That sounds like a lot to me, but apparently Santa Fe is one of my 4 northern counties.
Oh, well, right.
And so based upon population, I can see them trying to take part of my money. But I think if we are creative, if we show that through a teacher apprenticeship program, there's a genuine need, that we can ask for more money in the future. So I'll leave that one thought with, I see an opportunity to work with local business and create other kinds of apprenticeship programs. And I envision where Workforce Solutions will pay for the worker to go to San Juan College to get the skill, and then maybe pay the first 5 weeks of their salary once they're hired. So there are ways that we need to be more demanding of the state's attention and take advantage of those opportunities that we now know are out there.
Very good. Well, lots of things to be ready for with the new school year just about to start. Dr. Schmidt, always appreciate you coming in, and we'll see you again end of August.
End of August. Thanks, Scott.
All right, very good. And Stephanie Thompson, thank you for coming in this morning. Again, congratulations and good luck with your service on the Farmington School Board.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. My guest from the Farmington School District here on KSJE, and I'll be back with more in just a moment, everyone. The time is 8:39. Did you enjoy that podcast? We hope that you did. And if you did, share it with your friends. And if you really want to keep podcasts like this coming, please support KSJE. You can do it easily online at ksje.com.